Hello, fellow digital soldiers, and welcome to True Reporting. It is February 13th, and on today's podcast, we will be covering a True Pundit report, and it has to do with a Ruth Bader blackout. And we know that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is not seen for over 56 days, and this article actually came out today. But before we get into any of that, would you please go ahead and click the bell to get notifications? I have been shadow banned. Also, please follow me on Twitter at True Reporting, and don't forget to leave a like. The more likes that this video receives, the more times it is recommended to other viewers, thus more eyes on the truth. And with that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is True Reporting. So, True Pundit brings to us Ruth Bader Blackout. We're all familiar with what's going on with her. They tell us Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been missing from the Supreme Court for over a month. And now we have found out that the premier news networks in the country have been told to keep any and all related Ginsburg health out of the news. That is huge. They are being controlled, correct? Media contacts at the ABC News and the Washington Post report that Ginsburg's health stories have been put on a no-fly list by editors. Again, told what to do. And at least one Fox News journalist privately asserts that the network is not interested in Ginsburg watch feature either. So even Fox News, I'm not saying that Fox News isn't legitimate. What I'm saying is that they are controlled, and I believe that Sean Hannity could possibly be the only patriot available at Fox News. So keep your head on a swivel, right? We can continue on. There have been no reports about Ginsburg's health in the mainstream media for over a week, even though she was a no-show for Trump's State of the Union address. Left us all pondering, right? Not one single story from the big left media. It's clear that they had their orders from their Democrat overlords. I love that wording. Only the Daily Caller had the stones to question Ginsburg's absence. No one in the media is camped out at Ginsburg's health either. That's another no-fly zone for the elite media, a news blackout. And we can all talk about what happened to Roger Stone, where CNN just so happened to be there when all of this took place, when the FBI raided his home. That was a setup. Everything is controlled, everyone. Just make sure you know what's going on. They say instead the Washington Post put its patented dishonest spin on the growing Ginsburg saga. The deep state WAPO, Washington Post, owned by the magnate Jeff Bezos and his $600 million contract with the CIA. That is true. You can Google that. I'm telling you, you don't have to DuckDuckGo it. You can even Google it. That he even bought WAPO, Washington Post, I believe, for $400 million. They are CIA owned. They go against Trump. They go against the narrative, or they go with the narrative 100%. Do not trust them. They are basically a psyop, right? A reporter said Ginsburg was spotted in public last week at a concert based on phone calls he received from big wig Dems saying she was at the event. Bull crap. He declared, in quotes, "It's true. RGB lives and looks fabulous. I'm sure an 85-year-old woman who falls, breaks ribs, gets diagnosed with cancer, and then comes down with pneumonia is looking fabulous. Not a chance." No one at the Post actually saw her, and no pictures or video exist of her at the event. And the Post reporter, of course, never left his desk. Sounds legit. Truth Pundit says. Then Fox piggybacked onto the baseless WAPO story, helping to spread fake news. I really like True Pundit. And then the course of unsubstantiated news, pimps joined in. And we see even a couple of these that I even follow. You see the Daily Caller, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You see Breitbart, Ginsburg makes first public appearance. And pretty much the rest are left-wing loons. The media can say Ruth was spotted in public on what is little more than lies. But anyone who questions such a baseless claim was and is quickly labeled a conservative conspiracy peddler by the Post and its surrogates. Absolutely. That conspiracy theorist is coined by the CIA, using it against this. What's next? A WAPO cooking show with Jimmy Hoffa or a Fox travel show with Bin Laden? See, you can see here, True Pundit is right down the middle. They're bashing WAPO, which is very left-leaning, and Fox, which is conservative. So, my suggestions to you is follow True Pundit. On Tuesday, a contact at ABC said to expect to see stories in the news in the coming days or weeks trying to reassure the public that Ginsburg is doing fine and that the long absence from the high court is not something new based on the court's history. Hours later, Wednesday morning, the deep state Associated Press moved a story loaded with the exact rhetoric, keeping the script, of course. So the Associated Press, in quote, says, following the rhetoric, right? Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has missed a month of the Supreme Court arguments as she recovers from lung cancer surgery. But she's not the first to be away for a while, and her absence hardly compares with some of those from her predecessors. The day before the Supreme Court began in the term 1949. So you're going all the way back to World War II. Justice William Douglas broke 14 ribs. Doesn't that sound familiar? Because she broke 4 or 5 ribs and suffered a punctured lung, so did she, in quotes, when he was thrown from his horse on a trail in the Cascade Mountains in Washington. He didn't return to the bench for nearly half a year, and his long recovery caused delays in several cases, including challenges to segregation. Oh my goodness. Got to stay left-leaning, right? Like much of what goes on away from the public view at the Supreme Court, how the justices deal with a colleague's absence can be opaque. I believe that's pronounced correctly. The individual justice decides whether to rule on case, even if she has missed arguments. That doesn't make sense because she doesn't even know what's going on. Indeed, Chief Justice John Roberts, who was a right-leaning guy, probably threatened and definitely flipped to the left, already has announced that Ginsburg is participating in the cases she's missed. Complete lie. She's on ice. And only the justice can decide when an injury or illness is so severe that retirement is the only option. Well, what about being 6 feet under, being worm food? What about that option? A quarter century after his riding accident, Douglas suffered a serious stroke. So you have broken ribs, then you suffer a stroke. She has broken ribs. She gets permanently put into cancer. Jesus Christ, doesn't this sound eerily exactly the same, right? So we see here, it says, his weakened state caused a backlog in the court's work, and other justices refused to issue decisions in the case where Douglas had provided the 5th majority-making vote. So basically, they're just saying that if she pleads the 5th, if someone pleads the 5th, then they have to sit tight until otherwise, right? I can see this panning out exactly the same. There aren't any rules about this, and so much is left to the individual justice, said Erwin Chemerinsky, who argued a case during Ginsburg's absence. Yuck. But remember, always remember this, guys. You are a conspiracy theorist for even questioning where Ruth is, or even if she is incapacitated, or worse, dead. You are supposed to keep your mouth shut and not notice that the entire media conglomerate has been told to sit on the story or else. Firing, potential murder. You tell me what's going on, right? Think of Supreme Court Justice Scalise, gone, out of there because he was in their way. Funny how many of these theories do often turn out to be conspiracies and not just a theory, especially when the media is a part of one this large, Thomas Paine. And guys, if you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter. I certainly agree that you do, at True Reporting. And don't forget to leave a like. The more likes that this video receives, the more times it is recommended to other viewers, thus more eyes on the truth. And with that being said, my friends, expect many more podcasts and live streams in your horizon. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Good night.